Omega, people! So this is the third day after the attempted assassination. A few more details have emerged. A little bit more video. The Secret Service is looking more incompetent by the hour. This is Trump showing up at the RNC today.
Donald J. Trump.
Just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars.
Where are all the women Secret Service here today?
Because the flag still stands for freedom.
So of course the Babylon Bee is making jokes about having all those incompetent women. And so now the Secret Service beefs up Trump's security with a squad of blind midgets. Uh-oh. According to TMZ, they found some footage where the shooter made a video of himself, and of course they usually scrub these, but sometimes they're archived. Here's this guy claiming this is the shooter that's dead now.
Penis and 6'4". I go to Stanford University. I have a 10-inch penis.
This picture of the shooter is just amazing. Everyone in the crowd saw him. The cops ran from him. There were cops inside the building he's on top of. This was their headquarters. And nobody saw him. This meme is pretty true. Everybody was January 6th was Trump's fault, but Biden can't be responsible, and no Democrat is responsible for this happening. Notice the hypocrisy. And the threats against Trump are still coming in strong. Lots of people upset that he didn't get killed. And like usual, all social medias are being deleted to hide anything about the shooter. So Discord deleted his account. And a spokesperson said it contained nothing related to the attack. Well, why did you delete it? And it appears more and more comments or leaks or news things are being broken that the shooter was seen 20 minutes, 26 minutes, 30 minutes before he actually shot, because he was carrying a rangefinder and all kind of odd things. And nobody decided to stop and question this guy. Very odd. Here's a report where they discuss how many different times this guy was on the radar and was missed.
A federal law enforcement source tells me that a suspicious person was flagged to local police here at the rally for acting strangely before the gunman opened fire, which caused police to begin a foot chase for this person. One report says the person was acting nervously and pacing near the metal detectors. Now, this is notable that the suspicious person, presumably Thomas Crooks, was flagged at a separate location away from that rooftop that he climbed, raising more questions about whether this alleged shooter could have been stopped. A senior federal law enforcement source telling Fox News there were multiple radio transmissions describing a search for a suspicious person after citizens reported this to local police. A local law enforcement leader confronted the individual at the rooftop. Now, Crooks had no known tonight.
And it just gets better and better. Counter-sniper team was inside the building. Instead of on top, they were inside the building. Evidently, the building was being used as a local police as a watch post for snipers. Are you kidding me? Here's more footage of the cops being stopped by their own fence trying to get to the shooter, and they can't get to the shooter.
Hit it like you mean it.
So we're using a car to get the cops after the shooter. Wow. Back to blue. Wow. People be saying there wasn't enough cops there. We needed more cops. Really? Maybe all these guys shouldn't have been eating donuts at the same spot.
This guy put in front of him. That's what I noticed. And then watch the guy run.
This is a great visual on if Trump had not turned his head, where the bullet path would have been. And he turned to look at the screen, and that's why he got it in the air instead of in the head. I mean, you talk about incompetence for all these things to allow the guy to get in there and pull the trigger. And then the luck that Trump turned his head at the right time. And again, more people keep finding, inconsistencies with the official report. According to the FBI, the guy attended a shooting range, a gun store, and he bought a ladder. Let's see. The next morning, Crook went to Home Depot where he bought a 5-foot ladder at the gun store, purchased 50 rounds of ammunition. And somebody said, does that look like a 5-foot ladder? There could have been multiple ladders. I think he probably used a ladder. There's a little bitty building right here. I'll try to point it out if I see it again. I think that's where he climbed on and then climbed onto this ladder, because they said he was jumping from roof to roof. So I'll try and point it out later. And this is the Dallas police officer that said, too bad, he needs to aim better. He's on admin leave, which means he's getting paid and he don't have to work. Wow. Big punishment for saying that. So initially the FBI was saying we can't get in his phone, we can't get in his phone. Now they're saying they did get in his phone, but they didn't find anything. They are roasting this incompetent buffoon Secret Service girl. Die another day, 007. Oh, I'm sorry. DEI another day, 007. So this was I don't know if people were around or if you didn't know it. There was a balloon that popped one time when Reagan was giving a speech, and he just sporadically said, miss me, and it was pretty funny.
Democracy that have marked the history of this city. America missed me.
So here's CNN, Crap News, Criminal News Network. This is what they're reporting the investigation is saying.
There's a motive, a manifesto, the reasoning behind this. The suspect is still a blank slate, but what they have developed is a lot of the background about what happened that day. They know that he went to his employer at the nursing home where he works as a dietary specialist before this and said, I need Saturday off. I have something important to do. But he told his coworkers, I'll see you on Sunday. So he changed his days off, presumably for this. We also understand that when he got to the fairgrounds where this rally was being held for Donald Trump, the first thing that puts him on the radar of security people is near the magnetometer area where they're screening people in. He's carrying in his hand a rangefinder. It's a device that looks like a small pair of binoculars, but it's used by shooters to measure the distance when they're setting up a long-distance shot. Because he didn't have a weapon, that would not have prevented him to go through security. But they did flag, what does he have this in his hand for? At that point, they told people, keep an eye on this guy. But then he leaves the secure area, the staging area, and he doesn't turn up again for some time until the crowd says there's a guy crawling up the roof, and it appears he has a rifle. There is an eerie moment in here, Aaron, where he's taking the rangefinder and he's looking through it at the counter sniper positions. And one of the counter sniper positions is looking at him through the scope. At this point, there's not a gun in the picture, as I understand it, but they're saying he's looking at us, looking at him. Then when people alert the police and they try to come up the ladder to get him, and he confronts them with the AR-15 gun, they dive for cover. And then a moment later, he opens fire. But a lot of this sounds very spread out. The end of it happens very quickly. The last piece is the search of the car. As we reported last night, 2 remote-controlled IEDs, remote-controlled bombs in the car. the remote control for those devices found on his person on the roof, according to sources. 3 fully loaded magazines with nearly 100 rounds, a bulletproof vest. So it raises the question, did he expect to escape from this? And if so, what was all that intended for? What was to happen next? Questions that are still open in the minds of these investigators.
I get it. There's a lot of questions. This is a good picture of the noticeable lack of quota-hire females surrounding him. And I've talked about this before. When you're on Secret Service, everybody gets a little pin. Each of these pins are coded for different missions and different ones. So these pins are kept count of. They know who gets them. They're all signed out. And certain ones say that they're bombs. Some say that they're armed or they're not armed. If they're an evacuation team, the pin will be different. So these little pins worn by the Secret Service tell kind of what their assignments are. So the DEI quota hire female in charge of the Secret Service said the reason why snipers weren't on this roof is the roof was too sloped for them to put a sniper on it. And so somebody put these 2 pictures where the snipers were and where the shooter was, and they expect idiots to believe, because she's a woman telling them something, it must be true, that they couldn't have snipers here because the slope was too steep for snipers. Really? Evidently there's a shooting out by the RNC also tonight, because it's Tuesday, and they shot and killed somebody, but there's not a lot of information on this yet. So here's another news article. I don't think he was spotted on the roof 26 minutes. They were looking for him because of the rangefinder, because he was acting suspicious. They couldn't find him. They were pointed out. They couldn't get through the gates. All this gave him time to get on the roof. I don't think he was on the roof 26 minutes. I think this is just either a misprint or the article got it wrong. Secret Service also released that in recent weeks, this is before the shooting now, they had obtained intel that Iran was going to try to assassinate Trump. So not only should the Secret Service have been on alert for the typical guarding the president, they had an additional high-risk threat from an enemy nation with large capabilities and an open border to get many people in. His security should have been doubled with this active threat. And they still yet some 20-year-old living with his mom get a shot off and would have killed him if Trump hadn't turned his head. So this is an article just basically from CNN about the timeline of what's going on. If you want to pause it and read it. They blocked a member from the Secret Service briefing on Tuesday, which is kind of odd. Why wouldn't they let a member brief? Because they want to be able to control and get their story straight. Shooter requested Saturday off from work, told his colleagues he'd be back Sunday. Like I said, you can pause and read it. Law enforcement was found after the shooting. Found a bulletproof vest, fully loaded mags, 2 remote-controlled explosive device in his car. Body armor, Hummer rounds. He also had a 3D printer. So all these things will be what they'll be trying to ban next, saying, oh, he had it, we need to ban it. Shooter arrived at Raleigh security screening area more than 3 hours before the attempt. He was roaming around for 3 hours, which means he had the guns there before, or, the guns were already in there. How does he obtain the guns if he was there 3 hours before? Lots and lots of questions. Now that FBI and Homeland is saying, oh, there might be follow-on retaliatory attacks following Trump. Really? Really? Shocking. Trump announced his VP. I don't know nothing about this guy. He spoke to the shooting victims. DA says his team was not supposed to guard outside during Trump rally. Butler County DA. That must have been the DA investigators they had assigned out there. Investigators haven't found anything that points to motive of the shooter on the phone. Iran denies any plot. So this crew went out and asked people on the streets in a left-wing area, probably liberals, what they think of the attack.
It's a false flag.
False flag.
Yeah, false flag.
Somebody died and 2 people injured. What do you think about that?
False flag.
False flag.
I thought it was magnificently staged. It was professionally done. It almost looked real.
Wait. Staged by who?
Oh, by Mr. Trump, of course.
I think this whole thing is staged.
So Trump staged it.
It depends on everybody's view. Yeah.
View of the assassination attempt? What do you think? Does it kind of depend on where you're standing, whether or not you agree with the assassination attempt or disagree with it?
I just don't see that being the truth, but that's my. I'd rather just not make any comment.
Really quick, what are you talking about the truth? What do you mean? Oh, you just don't believe it was an assassination attempt?
No.
Please don't. We're so anti-Trump. I don't even want to.
Was it a bad thing, though? Was it a bad thing? Would you condemn it?
Oh, that he got shot at? Of course.
Yeah, you never do that.
Of course, you don't do that.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, that's really bad. Yeah, exactly. You don't do that. Was it staged? Probably.
Staged?
Yeah.
Okay, so you think Trump maybe staged assassination for support? Okay. And
So they're thinking Trump staged this.
Other people being critically injured.
I haven't seen the news today. I'm not here for the news. I haven't seen anything. I'm on vacation.
So you just thought it was fake?
Of course.
This is a school teacher, Miss Jennifer Ripper, at Semper Elementary School. Looks like he almost got taken out. Damn it, they missed. My thoughts exactly. Aw, she got a little halo. And there's a few funny videos that are making fun of the incompetence of this Secret Service.
After Secret Service Barbie, a highly trained member of the Secret Service, removes her weapon from its holster for the very first time in her career. She struggles to return her pea shooter as though it's her first day on the job. Fortuitously, her skills from a previous life as an amateur actress come into play, allowing her to convincingly mimic the swift draw of the weapon and scan the horizon for threats. Chewing her gum nonchalantly, she attempts to exude a tactical demeanor, reminiscent of a fusion between the Blues Brothers and Rosie O'Donnell. Despite her efforts, our agent's attempt to return her wireless hole punch to its home results in another failure. While she may have faltered at this most basic of tasks, she certainly looked cool while doing it.
Somebody made an animation of Trump.
Ready to rumble.
Oh, and one more. This guy is acting like Trump. He does a little impersonation.
You can take my ears, but you cannot take my liberty. They want to cut off my ears like the Taliban, but what they don't know is my ears can grow back like SpongeBob through budding, by the way. Hit me with your best shot, why don't you? Because if that's the best you got, you're a loser. You're such a loser, you missed so bigly, by the way. You had a big opportunity. You could have made my head blow up on TV, but you didn't do that, did you? Now my ear is going to grow back bigger and better. It will
All right. So that's so far what we know from the investigation. This is day 3. So the shooting happened on Saturday, and we are now Tuesday for the RNC first day. I'll keep trying to memorialize timelines. See y'all later.